Hey Downtimers, today we're going to look at how to make plants that can be harvested by our PCs. We'll need all these items that I have here on the granite countertop, and also we'll need a glue gun. And you'll notice here that I'm actually using half and half Elmer's glue. That's half and half PVA. It really works out to be about 60% glue and about 40% water, but 50-50 is about where it needs to be. So the first thing we'll want to do is take our tea leaves and sprinkle just a thin layer over the granite countertop. Now you can use whatever countertop you like for this, but I do find that having a granite countertop like this or a granite countertop piece like this actually works really well for the hot glue, because you can actually peel the hot glue off of the countertop if some hot glue gets a little bit past the tea leaves and onto the countertop itself. So we'll just want to use a thin layer of the tea leaves, and we'll want to use one of the 1/4-inch washers, and make sure you have the flat side of the washer down, and then you'll want to use the hot glue gun, and you'll want to put hot glue all over the washer. Be sure to cover the edges of the washer, and you definitely want to get the entire washer covered, especially the center of the washer, because as you can see here, we're actually going to put the plant right in the center of the washer. And then before the glue has a chance to dry, we're going to sprinkle quite a bit more. It usually takes about half a tea bag for each one of these, so about 2 plants can be done with 1 tea bag typically. And you just want to make sure you really cover it really well before it dries. And of course, once the hot glue dries, then we'll want to go and put the half and half PVA on it, and that will actually seal what we already have on the base there. And also it will allow us to sprinkle a little bit more on top, so that we'll have a really full effect on the base with our flock. Now keep in mind, I use tea. You can use any kind of flock you prefer. I just like the look of tea, and I think it looks kind of like a muddy dirt mixture, which works really well for this, especially because I plan on using these in a swamp. You want to cover the entire base, all the tea leaves or whatever kind of flock you've used, completely with the half and half PVA, so it's all sealed really well to the hot glue base. And once you have all that sealed, of course, you'll want to put a little more, sprinkle a little more on top, just to make sure that you have a good amount on the base. And then of course you just need to let it sit and dry. Just a little aside here, I actually got these little plants, these little fake plastic plants, from the Crafted Forward box. So not really 100% sure who put it in there, but whoever did, thank you very much. These are already coming in handy, and you'll see here in a minute, it really turned out to be pretty cool. So we're just going to put a little more, sprinkle a little more tea leaves on top of that PVA mix, and we're just going to let this sit and dry. Now here's where our Q-tips come in handy. We'll simply want to paint whatever color we want the center of the plants to be. So the buds, you notice I have all sorts of different colors, so I want the buds to be of various colors. I mean, you could paint these whatever colors you want. You could even have black buds on your plants if you prefer. So whatever colors you're looking for, just break out the acrylic paints and just paint up the ends of them. You don't really need to paint too far down past the cotton onto the stick itself, and you'll want to make sure these are good and dry. And then of course we're going to cut these, and we want to cut one end pretty short, and that's the end that's going to go in the plant, and the other end will want to have a little more length to make a bit more of a stem, and that's going to be the part or the bud that's been extracted or harvested from the plant. Now obviously these plants already have a little center hole in the middle of them, and you don't really need to put a bud in this if you don't want to, but I did notice that a Q-tip stick fit perfectly in the center hole, and it just really begs for a flower or some sort of bud to be in the center of it. And I thought it was pretty handy that I could just put a colored Q-tip down in the center to make a bud. Now this can be pulled out. I don't glue them in there, I just set them in there, but I choose to, instead of do that and move the piece around a whole lot and move the bud in and out of the piece, which could cause maybe some of the flock to fall off on the table and so forth, I just choose to use another piece of the Q-tip and paint up the stem green, as you can see here. And that's just going to be the piece, the prop, if you will, that the player will have after their PC has successfully harvested the bud from the plant. Now, keep in mind, these particular pieces, they already have a hole in them. A lot of aquarium plants and all, they have these holes in them where, maybe you could pull something out and put these in or whatever. But it wouldn't take a whole lot to simply hot glue these in the center of plastic plants that you might already have that don't have these holes in the center of them. So just the main idea is to make it so that they can be harvested. And I think having the two Q-tip ends painted the same and looking identical, the one Q-tip end staying in the plant piece and the other Q-tip end being used as a prop to give to the player whose character just harvested the plant, I think that really adds a lot to this. That's all for this Flora. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you got anything out of this video, if you would, please give us a like and leave a comment. Let us know what you think about this. As always, guys, thanks for watching.